Hi everyone, how would you like to paint an easy atmospheric watercolour painting? Glazing is a layering technique giving beautiful atmosphere. Take a quarter imperial sheet of at least 200 pounds, that's 425 grams of cold pressed watercolour paper, also known as knot. Tear it into two or into four if you haven't done watercolour for a while, or if at all, and you'll find it easier and get stunning results. We're going to have fun now with 3 washes of watercolour. This is the reference picture of a wave, and a little tonal sketch, only took a minute, is very useful, showing where the light, medium and dark tones are. I'm going to be using this, spraying it first on the back, just lightly. It helps it adhere to the board, and tilting it about 45 degrees. I've mixed Art-Lorraine, phthalo blue and Prussian blue from a tube, from 3 tubes, which are very vibrant coming from a tube and make life easier. Again, anything for ease, to make things easier when painting wet in wet watercolour. A pipette is useful too to have, so I'm going to do a yellow wash first. I've mixed a pea size, about a pea size of each. I add about 3 pipettes of clean water into a clean palette using a big brush. This is a Sable number 12, and it holds plenty of water. So I'm going to mark in a wave, just roughly that's all I'm going to do, just this suggestion of a wave just to help. I want to make things as simple as possible, so we'll do 3 glazes. I'm going to wet the surface of the paper with a trigger spray, which I use all the time with watercolour, and I've got a big pot here of clean water, and I'm going to wet the complete surface of the paper thoroughly, letting it sink in, working my way down side to side. It's a great therapy, this. Doesn't matter the result, there's no right or wrong. So I'm nearly there. I want to check that it's completely wet. I don't want any hard edges at this stage. So letting it sink in, going right to the edge. It needs to be thoroughly wet. And then when I'm done, just going to tilt the paper to make sure there's no excess water. Encourage it into the corner, and then mix the yellow Art-Lorraine to about a semi-skimmed milk. consistency. There. Sometimes I pour it, but today I'm going to just use the biggest brush I could find, because again that makes life easier, and putting it into the corner and letting it run where it wants to, letting it flow across the surface of the paper. Thinking about the waves and the sunshine, and now I'm going to encourage it to flow a bit more. You can add water if it's not flowing as much as you would like. I'm going to leave a few areas of the paper without the yellow so that it shines. The white shines through. It could be like the frothiness of the wave. I'm nearly there, but as you can see there's a lot of excess paint, so I'm going to drain that into the corner before I dry it. All very easy so far. I could put masking tape in the corners on the very edges, but you have to watch that you don't get backruns then, because we're working so wet. But that's another way. But you have to keep mopping the edges, making sure there's no water collecting to make a puddle, because then life gets a little bit more tricky. So I think I've thoroughly mopped the excess water up, and so I'm going to dry this first glaze. It's dry now. Something to say about this, that when you use a hairdryer, it's best not to hold it too close. Holding it less than a foot and putting it on maximum strength, you get like a ring, so that's obviously not good. And it has to be thoroughly dry, and the way to test this is put your hand on it, and if it feels warm then it's dry, but if it's cold then you know it's not dry enough, and then that's when you could disturb the wash when you lay the next wash on. And it's best to do it very lightly with your brush, holding it near the end and letting it paint itself really, which is all the fun of it really. So I'm going to spray the back again, just lightly, if I can get my trigger spray working. That's it, just to help it adhere to the board a little bit. You can bend, because it's such a thick paper, you can bend it around, you don't have to stretch it. Right, so on with the next glaze of the phthalo blue, which is a beautiful colour, and the Prussian blue. I'm going to mix them, I think, this time. I want to make sure it's thoroughly covered. Yes, it's got a lovely sheen over the whole of the surface of the paper. This is very important now, to tilt the board, making sure there's no excess water. I'm going to turn it up the other way and paint from the opposite corner now. It's a semi-skim milk consistency again. If it's not flowing very well, you can add water, which I'm going to do because it's not flowing that well, just a little bit. I'm also just adding just a touch more water. That's better. It's a little bit thick before. That's where the skill comes in, a little bit of practice, and then it becomes easy. I'm just going to keep pouring more paint on and then let it flow. Water. Can use your brush. I'm not sure what I'm doing, just trying to get a feel of the waves. As I say, there's no right or wrong. It's just about having fun. Fun with watercolour. And you'll know when you've reached a point when you actually want to dry it. Getting fairly near that point now. This is very important, again I say, mopping up the excess. I'm laying it flat now because I'm happy with it. You can see there's water collecting there because it is going to create backgrounds that we don't want if I don't get rid of it. And then I'm going to dry it again and finish with my last watercolour layer. It's thoroughly dry now, and we're going to put the final layer of paint on to finish, and you can see the beauty of the atmospheric yellow shining through onto the second glaze. And so now we'll do the third layer. This is the tonal sketch, which is so useful because you can see where to finish with the darks. And so with the final layer of paint, I'm just thinking roughly where to put. This is such a valuable piece of kit. They're so cheap, trigger sprays. You can get good misty effects from the smaller ones, but I find the bigger ones you get bigger globules, so it's whatever you like to work with. It's all about experimenting really and having fun. I'm just blowing it now to encourage it, and I might spatter a bit as well. Just tap the brush. All very random and abstract, which is what I like. When you get good atmosphere, then just gonna, because it's waves, so just having fun here. The other thing I'm going to do, from looking at my tonal sketch, that's a bit random, is use the handle just randomly. I think I'm going to not do too much. Turn it on its side. If you look up like I've done, let that come up too high. Just get some paper, kitchen roll, and just dab it off. That's it. The other thing you can do, you can add salt or pencil. You can add intense blocks, which is what I'm going to do now, because I'm going to just finish shortly now. So you can see how easy this is. So this is an intense block, which I use a lot as well. It's very vibrant. They're very vibrant and come in all sorts of colours. So this is matching what I've already got on there. I'm using the tip of it and just letting it go a bit where it wants to go. Just adding a little bit of texture, really. Just thinking I may use cling film. But the thing with cling film is it takes about half an hour to dry. You can also use intense blocks on dry paint, wet or dry. It's more vibrant on the wetter paint. Just thinking now, it's good to think. It's good to think when stop and pause. Not quite there yet, but getting there. You can always add more spray, water spray or spatter. There's so many different techniques to help you get the result you're looking for. Salt as well. I think I'm going to add a little bit of cling film I've got here. Going through, just laying it on across the darker area. And so I'll have to leave that and come back to you for half an hour and let that dry. I've removed the cling film, revealing added texture. An Inktense block already used is good for depicting a few birds or just a few specks, just to give a bit of scale. This is my tonal sketch showing the light, medium and dark tones, which is replicated in the painting. The light, medium and darker tones. So I just need to put a few darker tones over here with this Inktense block. So you can use the side or the tip. So I'm just going to bring it down, just really copying that. Do much more now. I hope you like it and are inspired to have a go yourself. Please like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video to enable more videos and 10-minute techniques to come. Thank you for watching. See you next time. The sun shines golden over the Portuguese bay, with lapping waves calling to be painted. Transparent watercolour glazes beautifully capture this idyllic scene. Large wet watercolour washes wander across the expanse of indulgent thick paper required for this simple technique. Watch the birds flitting across the azure sky, and imagine little black and grey crabs scaling the matching coloured rocks that contrast the warm sand. Effective texture with cling film laid over your watercolour masterpiece will encourage the creative juices to flow. But don't be alarmed by the enormous crab pincer peeping from behind the heavy boulder. Its claw alone the size of my thumbnail. A young child reaches down with his sturdy gauntlet, jumping back when bitten, but persevering, wanting to reveal the submerged creature. It reminds me that when hurts are buried deep within, there is one who empathises. He understands and yearns for us to be free, and his name is Jesus Christ.